The United Nations says that it has yet to receive any official communication regarding its staff and contractors detained by Ethiopian authorities. Of the 16 UN national staff confirmed detained on Tuesday, UN officials say at least 9 staff remain in detention, while a further 70-plus drivers contracted to the World Food Programme and other aid agencies were arrested in Semera. The city of Semera is viewed as a gateway for aid convoys seeking to reach Tigray, where the humanitarian need is most acute due to the yearlong conflict in the country. Let's get some analysis then from the international relations analyst, Dr Christiano Dorsi, on the Ethiopia crisis. Dr Dorsi, thank you so very much for joining us here on SABC News this afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much for the invite, madam. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Now, the Ethiopian authorities have now detained, from last we checked, 16 UN staff members and dozens of drivers who were to ferry food and aid to the Tigray region. Let's talk, please, about the aggravation then of this already tense relation between the UN and Ethiopia at this time.
Yes, well, I mean, as this long conflict is showing, it's very difficult to establish the truth or one truth. In this case, the Ethiopian authorities, they're saying, they're reporting that, in fact, the person that they are arresting, they are not, Tigrayans per se, but they are just people who formerly or actually are helping the TPLF, the Tigrayan People Liberation Front. And in fact, they say that the police is not targeting Tigrayans per se. The problem is that the UN and the other organization in Addis, they're not really convinced about this affirmation. But this is part of, of the escalation of this conflict. Just last week, the Ethiopian, they proclaimed the national state of emergency, and it's very difficult, to establish who is completely right, who is completely wrong. The UN, they've just established that, there are crime against humanity have been committed by both sides during this conflict. I mean, that's, for example, the fact, the right to food, for example, to Tigrayans seems to have been denied. The Ethiopian government has been accused to use starvation as a weapon, to fight against Tigrayans. Starvation that is considered a crime against humanity for the Rome Statute, the criminal court. Tigrayans has been accused to loot places. So it's very difficult. As I said, the only 2 things that can be established is that, one, it seems that crime has been committed by all the parties at stake, included also the Oromians, because the Oromians are joining the Tigrayans in fighting the central government. And on the other side, that all the organization, the international stakeholders like the UN, but the African Union, but also single states like the US or the UK, they're just trying, to favor dialogue, because they say that, as usual, the major victims of conflicts, they are civilians.
Yeah, and
they are
Dr.
civilians
Dorsi,
who are innocent. Yes,
yeah.
Please, madam.
Yes, and Dr. Dorsi, on that note, when we're talking about civilians, I mean, there's now, serious fears of a possible full-blown civil war that would be sparked by this year really of bloodshed, and one wonders if this Tigray conflict could then lead to what would be then a civil war. Is there a high possibility, as some of these fears have certainly been expressed?
Yes, I mean, of course that at the moment we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, madam. So it's very possible that that the war is still escalating, and already thousands of civilians are flowing in the neighboring countries, asking for asylum, for example, and but it's not really clear what the intention. What the intention of Tigrayans are, in the sense that, of course, they look for independence, but this tension they continued for decades. They were Ethiopia unfortunately has experimented a lot of turmoil in these last decades. As a federal state, in fact, it's very difficult to find a compromise, and it seems that with the election of this new prime minister that also won the Nobel Peace Prize last year, I think it seems that the situation could have been settled in some way, but in fact it was a bit unexpected, this revolt of Tigrayans last year, in the sense that, it seems that situation, that compromise could have found, but it has been sufficient that Tigrayans, they went into the street and they claim for more autonomy. Also, the other region of Ethiopia, like as I said, or the Oromia, for example, they also started to claim again, more rights and to put under the lens of observation their own situation. Yeah. So at the moment, it's really a very it's a very difficult situation, and it's very difficult to understand when and how this conflict will be resolved. Right. As I said, there is a lot of mediation, because moreover, Ethiopia is a very important actor, geopolitical actor on the scene of Africa, but also of the world. But it's at the moment all the mediation seems not to find a concrete solution. So I think that this situation will still go on for a while. All right. Until when a real ceasefire will be proclaimed and will be kept, in fact.
All right. Thanks very much for giving us your time. We appreciate it, and for weighing in on, of course, the Tigray conflict there, Dr. Christiano Dorsi. Certainly we'll touch base with you as we certainly see more of news on this Tigray conflict. And at this time, 16 UN staff members and dozens of drivers have been detained at this time, and we'll certainly keep an eye